Hey everyone, I hope you're doing so well. Today's video is more of a how-to as opposed to a makeup tutorial. I am actually going to address essential brushes that I carry around in my kit that I would recommend to anyone that's just starting out in makeup. Um, Please note though, when I mention all of these essentials, that it took me a long time to accumulate all these brushes. They are not necessarily the least expensive. They do cost, I think each of these, yeah, they cost probably over $20 each. Um, and I would recommend taking your time. This took me probably a couple of years to accumulate all of my brushes. And even with the essentials, I probably budget once a month to buy a brush. So please keep that in mind when I present all of these brushes to you. Also, I am going to show you how I care for my brushes as far as cleaning them is concerned and maintaining their shape is concerned. So let's go ahead. Of my brushes, I've mentioned before that I don't wear foundation on a daily basis. So with that in mind, I actually don't have an essential foundation brush, but I will show you one that I would recommend. Most of them are eyeshadow brushes, and I've got one for blush and one for a highlighter application. So the first of the brushes that I recommend is the MAC 239 brush. This brush is a small flat shader brush that I'd recommend for just packing eyeshadow right onto the lid. You could use this to apply highlight colors in the tear duct and in the brow areas, and maybe even smudging out colors on the lower lash. But what I use this one for mainly is to pack color on my lid. It does a great job of picking the shadow color up and, transferring it to the lid. The next brush that I'd recommend is I believe this is the MAC 217. The problem is I've used these brushes so much that I've worn off the label. So this is a blending brush from MAC. It can be used as a crease brush as well, so you don't have to go out and buy a separate crease brush, and it blends the colors out wonderfully. So I use this mainly in my crease area. The next brush that you see me use almost every time that I do a tutorial is my tiny shadow brush that I actually purchased at Sephora. This is the number 23, and as you can see, it's slightly fluffy, but it is quite small, and I find it perfect for using to apply highlight colors right under the brow and in the tear duct area and just blending out the colors. So that's definitely one. I don't think this one's too expensive either. So it's at an affordable price, meaning, of course, I think it's between $15 and $20. So for those of you who are looking to purchase brushes, take your time with these. The next brush that you see me use a lot is my crease brush, which is from Sephora as well. I have two of these, one to apply a color in the crease and one actually that I use to blend out concealer on my face. This one specifically is the number 10 from Sephora. I think it is very similar to the number 224. I'm not sure if I'm right with the number, but I think it is the number 224 from MAC, and this one is cheaper. So if you're looking for a cheaper alternative to a MAC brush, this is great. I've washed this several times, and the brush actually doesn't shed much. Like I haven't had many of the hairs actually coming out when I wash it. So to me, it's a good quality brush. Others may think not, but I like it and it has worked well for me. Another brush that I would recommend you get is one that is small that'll allow you to apply color to your lash lines and even blend them out. And for that, I use the MAC 214, which is a flat smudger brush, or the MAC 219, which is a tapered pencil brush. I use them interchangeably, and I would recommend either one to you. This one is much stiffer, so if you're looking for more of an accurate application and even better blending without using too much force, I would recommend the MAC 214. So either one of these would work, just one of them. The next one that I use almost every time is my blush brush, which is the MAC 129. I like this one a lot. It's not huge. It kind of allows me to have more precise application of the blush, and I can blend nicely with it as well. Finally, I use a separate brush for my highlight application, and it used to be that I used a larger powder brush, which still works, but the one that I've been finding that I use more of lately is my fan brush, and this specific one is from Sephora, and it is the number 43 brush. You can see here. Some would probably say that it's not as good quality as the ones that you could get at MAC. Um, it it worked for me and it still works for me, so I'd recommend it. I think it's a little cheaper as well. So again, you go with what you think works well for you. You don't have to go with these specific brands either. You can go and find, I'm sure, much cheaper brushes that don't shed a lot of hair and that work just as well at drugstores. When I started buying brushes, I started at MAC and Sephora and never really purchased many from drugstores. So these are the only ones that I have in my kit that work for me. So that's it for the brushes that I would find essential for anyone starting out a makeup kit or a makeup regimen. Now, for those of you that insist on wearing or that have to wear or find that they need to wear foundation on a daily basis, like you've seen in my foundation routine video, I use my fingers. I think that's great, but if you'd rather use a brush, one that I would highly recommend is a dual fiber brush. And this specific one is a 187 from MAC. But like I've said in previous videos, if you find a good quality one that works well for you, it doesn't have to be MAC. You can find one for cheaper. The nice thing about these is that the top white hairs are actually synthetic fibers, so they don't absorb a lot of the color. What they do is they'll pick it up. You can stipple the color on your face and blend it out nicely. Now, anyone that has dry skin may find that it sort of exfoliates your skin at the same time, so rubbing your face with a brush is not the best. And for that, I would recommend using a sponge instead of a brush. So if you'd like me to do a tutorial on applying foundation with a sponge, let me know and I'd be happy to do so. Now let's go on to my brush cleaning routine. Okay, so before I bring you to my washroom to show you my weekly brush, like deep cleaning routine, I wanted to show you what I do on a daily basis with my brushes after I use them. All you'll need for this is a towel or paper towel that doesn't shed too much and a brush cleaner. Now, it's a daily brush cleaner that I use. The one that I like the most is the one that you can get at MAC. You get a pretty large bottle. I don't know. You'll have to look on the website for the amount. I don't have it with me, but it is the one that I find works the best for me. And what I do with that one is I pour it into a spray bottle and I use it that way. And the reason that I like that MAC's product better than the one I'm using right now is because it dries quickly. You want a brush cleaner that dries quickly so that no bacteria or anything festers on your brushes themselves. But what I use on a daily basis now, because I don't have the MAC one with me, is my Sephora daily brush cleaner. And the one thing, it does clean the brushes nicely. I find that it doesn't do it as well as the MAC one does. The other thing I don't like about it is it seems to leave a little bit of a residue on the fibers, and it isn't something that I've been liking too much of. Let me get a dirty brush for you so you can see how this works. So what I do, you can see I use this in my last tutorial. It's my dual fiber brush. And what I do is I'll spray one spray of this into the brush itself, and then I will put a couple sprays onto my towel, maybe 3. And what I do is I'll swirl the brush around in the towel itself. You can see the color coming off. See, I need to hold it at a better angle. There. You can see the color coming off the brush when you swirl it around. And then just kind of rub the brush in the direction that the fibers are going. So you don't want to go against the grain, you want to go with it. And again, swirl it. and just keep doing this until your brushes are clean. Okay, so now you can see that most of the color has come off the brush, and that's pretty much what I want to do to maintain the cleanliness of them during the week. Remove any bacteria or whatever may be lurking around in the fibers. So during the week, that's what I do. And then there's a product that I have, and you may have seen it sort of hanging on the handle of my brushes, and it is called a brush guard. This thing is amazing. I got it right around Christmas time, and each package, I believe they're available in stores, but I purchased these online, and they're great for storing your brushes, maintaining the shape of your brushes, and just keeping them clean in general. One package I believe is $5.50. I'll leave a link to the website in the description box below for you guys to refer to. It isn't too much for something like this. It's a mesh plastic product that actually stretches, and they've got different sizes. So what I do is after I clean my brushes and after I use them, I just go ahead and slip the brush guard on. You can see how it holds the brush in place. And then I just store it in whatever container. Because I am not in my permanent location right now, I just use an old yogurt container. And I just go ahead and store them in there. Now, if I'm deep cleaning my brushes, meaning using water and cleanser, I will store them upside down so as to make sure the brushes dry out properly. And I will bring you to my washroom now to show you my weekly brush cleaning routine. Okay, so here we are in my bathroom, and before we begin, I just wanted to show you what you need to have with you, as well as the guide that I use. Now, I used to wash my brushes using extra virgin olive oil and shampoo, but I actually, since I'm self-taught, as you all know, I read a lot of literature regarding makeup, and the latest one that I've been reading is Ray Morris's Makeup, the Ultimate Guide, which came recommended by an excellent guru here on YouTube. And it has some great information in it, including brush care. So you can either have a deep cleaning brush cleaner, which I don't have, and what Ray Morris suggests is to use a washing detergent because shampoo is not as deep cleaning as a detergent would be. So what I went out and did was purchased a colorless, fragrance-free, and dye-free washing detergent. This specific one is Tide. So that's what I have. So you'll need your detergent or your cleaner, as well as a container to put your brushes in. And what I've used for this is my yogurt container, and I've cut holes out in the bottom to help with the brushes drying overnight. I've got my dirty brushes here, one black one just to let you see that although it's black doesn't mean that it's clean, although you don't see anything, as well as two dirty brushes. And I just kind of rub these around in my Makeup Forever colors. As I've told you, they're Makeup Forever colors. You can see that they're still on my hands even though I've wiped it off. They have great staying power and the color payoff is great. The one thing is your brushes get really dirty when you use them. So I've got those, my empty container, my detergent, a towel to rest the brushes on, as well as a sink. So what I do first is I use the lid of the container that that I had on my detergent, put a little bit of detergent in the lid itself. So you can see there. I dampen my brush. Now, when you wet your brush, you don't want to hold your brush like this because the water will go into the ferrule. I think that I'm pronouncing it properly. And it'll loosen the glue and your brush will fall apart. So you want to make sure that you hold your brush this way, downwards, so no brush gets into this portion of the handle. So I just use lukewarm water, dampen the brush, and put a little bit of water into the lid and go ahead and like I did on my towel, on my daily cleaning technique, I just go with the direction that the hairs are going in, and I go ahead and soak up all the soap in the lid, and you can see all the color that's coming off in there from the brush itself. So continue with this. You can see how dirty the water is getting, right? What you want to do is you want to keep doing this until the water runs clear. So let me just go ahead and do that right now. Okay, the water is now run clear, and I'm just going to squeeze whatever excess I had out. And you know you have a good brush when you squeeze the excess out and you get no hairs that come out of the brush itself. So this one's a very good quality brush. I've washed it since. Anyways, once you've gotten that excess water out, go ahead and put, if you have a brush guard, go ahead and put it on. And it's okay to put the brush guard on this because it is mesh, so it allows the fibers to breathe. Go ahead and put it on and place it upside down in the container in which you're going to dry them. And it should just take a couple hours for it to dry. I usually leave them overnight. And just for the sake of example to see how well this works in deep cleaning the brushes, I'm going to use one of my brushes that has that Makeup Forever color on it. This is the number 92 color. Again, put a little bit of the soap into the lid, or whatever white surface you're using. I recommend using a white surface because then you can see the water running dry or running clear. Put a little bit of water in here and dampen the brush. Again, holding it upside down. Go ahead and paint the soap into the brush, I guess you could say. And again, go with the direction that the hairs are in. And there you have it. The water is running clear now. The brush is clean. Just squeeze that excess water out of it. Go ahead and put my brush guard on it. And I actually make sure if you do have brush guards, don't pull them up or in the opposite direction of the fibers because the fibers will splay. You want to just pull it and make sure that there's a little bit of excess here and then put it upside down. One thing I didn't mention about the brush guards is that they're great for keeping your brush in the correct shape that it came in. And even after years of use, when I purchased this brush guard, after years of using the brush, the fibers had splayed quite a bit, but using the brush guard actually brought them back to their original shape and form. So I'm going to continue cleaning my brushes, but I really hope that this was useful to you. Please stay tuned for plenty more. My next video is actually going to involve a demonstration on how to depot MAC eyeshadows. So stay tuned and have a fabulous day. Bye.